So we'll now begin with the opening questions and just the opening statements, and we will begin with Joanne McCracken at number 1.
Good afternoon. Everyone hear me okay? Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out. It's such a beautiful day today, and it's so wonderful that everyone has come out to listen to the candidates. Many people don't focus on judicial races. They're usually much more low-key than other kinds of races, but actually judges serve a very important role in the community, and who you select as a judge is, I think, a very important job for voters to do. I'd like to give you a little bit of background about myself. I have been a lawyer for almost 24 years. For the first 3 years of my practice, I was in a civil firm in San Francisco and practiced some very interesting, complex civil law there. And then I came to the district attorney's office. And while at the district attorney's office, I spent most of my career prosecuting very serious cases. I prosecuted sexual assault cases for 9 years and convicted some very dangerous offenders, very high-profile cases. And I prosecuted homicide cases for 5 years. After that time, I worked in the community prosecution unit, and I was assigned to work out in the east side of San Jose, going into family homes, trying to work with families to avoid teen criminal behavior, address gang problems, blight, those kinds of community concerns. I then was promoted to chief trial deputy, and I supervised the homicide team and some other teams in that assignment. I'm the first woman in the district attorney's office who's ever served as the chief trial deputy. I now supervise the general felony team. It's the largest felony team in the district attorney's office, and my job essentially is to train younger lawyers on how to be trial attorneys, how to be good trial attorneys. In addition to my law practice, I devote a lot of my time to teaching. I have taught throughout the country, but in particular, I've taught throughout California to lawyers, to scientists, to police officers on relevant legal topics and many other groups. I also do volunteer work. I have volunteered in the area of domestic violence, both for victims and offenders. I have volunteered for almost about 10 years now for the Salvation Army's Adult Rehabilitation Center. It's a group that works to rehabilitate drug offenders. And I have served in some other capacities with rape victims and volunteered in that way. I think that one thing that speaks to my qualifications are my endorsements. I've been endorsed by over 40 Superior Court judges, many attorneys. Every endorsing police agency, Police Officers Association has endorsed, in my race, has endorsed me, the mayor of San Jose and other mayors, city council members, and so forth. I think what I bring is I will be a fair and ethical judge. I have a lot of trial experience, which will make me a good trial attorney, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCracken. We'll now hear from Bob Kamers, who is a candidate for seat number 19.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Kamers, and I'm, as she said, a candidate for office 19. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my qualifications for the office. I'm a civil practice attorney. I've been practicing here in Santa Clara County for 23 years, and that was my second career. I'm also a retired Army officer from after 20 years of service. I have a very broad civil background. My office was in San Jose when I started out. I did every kind of civil case from personal injury, professional malpractice, construction, breach of contract, trade secret cases, and all kinds of litigation, including collection actions and other sort of corporate litigations. Over the years, I changed my practice to intellectual property, and I also moved my office to Palo Alto, where I've been over on Page Mill Road here for the last few years. I am a registered patent lawyer, and I also do most of my litigation these days in federal court, trying patent cases. Over the years, I've had a continuous commitment to pro bono work. I started pro bono work on basically the time I started law practice. I got the 10-year service award from the pro bono project of Santa Clara County, and I'm now counsel to the board of the Habitat for Humanity of Silicon Valley. I also have a great deal of experience, over 10 years of experience, deciding cases as a court-appointed judicial arbitrator I've been doing that for over 10 years. I've probably decided well over 20 cases. I'm also an arbitrator with the fee arbitration project here in our county, and I've decided probably a dozen cases with that. So I like deciding cases a lot, and that's the reason I decided to seek a judgeship, because I was getting a lot more satisfaction from doing that than I was really being an advocate. So I thought I'd be better playing that role for the future. In addition to that, I'm just a family man. I live in Los Gatos. I'm married. I have 4 kids, 3 adult daughters and an 11-year-old. And we really love living here in Santa Clara County. I haven't lived here long enough. We traveled all over the world, of course, in the Army, and decided this is the best place to live, so that's why we're here. Let's see, other qualifications that I have is I've been essentially in leadership roles and a manager of activities and trying to get things organized for over 40 years. So I know how to run things. I know how to be part of a team. And I think if I were to be on the court, I would try to play a role in the organization and other actions of the court to get things going in towards the sort of the goals that I have in mind. Some of the goals I have in mind is that the court needs to take a much stronger role in early settlement of small cases, because the way things are right now in the civil side, if you have a small case, I'll tell you more later.
Thank you, Mr. Kremers. We'll now hear from Tim Pritzker, who is a candidate for seat number 11.
Thank you very much. I have just spent 26 years as a dedicated public servant, working as a deputy district attorney for you folks here in Santa Clara County, protecting victims and trying to get criminals their just rewards. I've done it all. I issue cases, that is, read the police reports and decide what charges should be filed. I do the preliminary hearings, the trials, and the sentencings. I consider myself primarily a worker. I'm a nuts and bolts type guy. I go in and I do the heavy calendars. I get the job done. I have not called in sick since 1989. I help the police out on cases. I go out and I dig up witnesses. I interview and subpoena witnesses myself. I was the first person in the DA's office to use DNA evidence in a trial, a jury trial, to get a conviction. I have spent 7 years handling complex gang and career criminal cases. I spent 3 years in drug court helping to rehabilitate drug addicts to get them out of the revolving door of the criminal justice system. I also spent some time in juvenile trying to help juveniles straighten out their lives and get out of the system. I have had significant contributions to the criminal justice system in California. I'll touch on the most significant one was my Gartley case, which was an attempted murder case, a gang case with a gang enhancement. That case went all the way to the California Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, with a published opinion, approved of how I approached the case, how I proved the case. I won't get into the details, haven't got time, but the bottom line is the Supreme Court approved how I proved a gang case, and that case since then has been used to help educate and train prosecutors in the state in gang prosecutions. I believe I am the best candidate, or a good candidate anyway, for judge, because I've spent 26 years in court on almost a daily basis. In the last year, actually from January 2009 till February of this year, I actually worked up here in Palo Alto in the Palo Alto courts. And this last year in the Palo Alto courts, I prosecuted defendants charged with attempted murder, rape, kidnapping, mayhem, robbery, carjacking, burglary, weapons, drugs, and a bunch of other stuff. I have a total of 101 felony jury trials in my career in the DA's office. That's more than anyone else in the district attorney's office. And it's my opinion that unless you have lots of felony jury trials under your belt, you're not qualified to sit on criminal cases. I can step right in and take over as a criminal judge, which we need. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll next hear from Thomas Spielbauer, who is a candidate for seat number 7.
Thank you. I've been a lawyer for a long time. I've been a lawyer for over 32 years. I'm over 60 years of age. I have a very rich life experience, and my journey through life, particularly as an attorney, has not been a traditional one. It's been one that's been filled with a lot of diverse experiences. But it has given me the wisdom and the ability to sit here before you and to know that I would be a very good selection as a Superior Court judge. Now, I practiced with the Public Defender's Office, criminal law, for about 22, 23 years. I left that, and I have been in a civil practice since then. When I left, I began a civil practice of homeowner foreclosure defense, which was a kind of an interesting time back in 2005 or so, because the whole field has transformed since then. And as time has passed, I saw the pain as we moved into 2007, 2008, 2009. I saw the pain that the collapse of the economy was causing to people, basically my clients, who I would bring before the court. And it's that recognition as the economy changed and as people started to suffer loss, homeowners suffering the loss of their homes, people who are suffering from retirement losses, things of that nature, that made me aware that truly, even though you have the law and the law is fair, a good thought goes into the law when the law is created, it's all subject to judicial philosophy and judicial interpretation. And I saw that very clearly as I practiced foreclosure defense. I would go in with one fact pattern, a similar fact pattern in front of one judge, exactly the same, I'd get one result. I'd go with the same fact pattern in front of another judge and there'd be a different result. And the only difference that I could see, why were there two different results? It wasn't because there was a difference in the law. It was because of the judicial philosophy that particular person had. And the philosophy that I would bring to the bench is a sensitivity to people, to the people the litigants who appear in front of me, as well as to victims in the event that the case does engender the fact that there may be victims involved. I'm the father of a 12-year-old daughter. I'm very familiar with what it takes to raise a family, particularly being a single parent. And I am very, very concerned about where things are headed with this country. And I think that we need to have somebody on the bench who brings with them a sensitivity to our Constitution, to our constitutional rights, and to the effects of the economy on people.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Vanessa Becker, who is a candidate for seat 11.
Good afternoon. I have been a lawyer for a little over 22 years now, and I have been a business owner. I've had my own practice for the last 16 years. My practice focuses primarily on issues related to family law. For people who may not be familiar with the family law area, those are issues related to divorce, custody of children, families moving in transition. We deal with issues related to businesses, business valuations, money. I do like to say that in a good economy, people fight about money, and in a bad economy, people fight about money. So my days are spent dealing with and resolving conflict over a number of different issues. Prior to starting my own firm 16 years ago, I began my career as a deputy county counsel. Deputy county counsels defend the county in my particular area, defend the county, and things like if a bus gets in an accident or a deputy gets into a dispute on the street, the county counsel's office defends those folks. I spent approximately 4 years in the county counsel's office, and I got some good substantial trial experience there. I also began my love of working with children and families while I was in the county counsel's office. I started work in the dependency unit and quickly graduated to trying long cause trials in the areas of child abuse, child sexual assault, extreme physical abuse, extreme emotional abuse for children. When I moved from the county counsel's office, I moved into private practice, and I decided that my passion really was working with families and the issues that do affect families. I also knew that I wanted a a job that allowed me to be in the courtroom a lot, and I certainly got my wish. I spend nearly every day of my life in the courtroom in one way or the other, and when I'm not in the courtroom, I spend my time trying to solve conflict. I have also chosen to move outside a little bit of the family law arena so that I can keep balanced in terms of my perspective, in terms of the entire court system. I devote a lot of my time to pro bono work, which is free legal services on behalf of children. I have also served as a civil arbitrator to keep my balance with respect to the civil side of the courts for approximately 16 years now, since 1994. I also serve as a temporary judge for our courts on the Child Support Commissioner calendars and as a family settlement officer. I also did a 6-month stint in the district attorney's office as a volunteer because I wanted to see how the criminal perspective fit into the world of family law and into my role as an attorney. And I found my 6 months in the district attorney's office to be extremely beneficial because it told me how the criminal system works with the civil system, which works with the family law system. I deal a lot right now with many criminal issues related to domestic violence, parents charged with abusing children, sexual abuse issues, and that type of thing. So I have tried to have a well-rounded career as a private attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Julia Alojimento, who is a candidate for office 19.
Good afternoon. My name is Julia Alojimento. As she mentioned, I am a candidate for Superior Court Judge Office 19. For the past 12 years, I have worked as a Deputy District Attorney here in Santa Clara County, and I have handled a number of serious and violent felonies, including domestic violence abuse cases, career criminal cases, and even a homicide. I have been honored during that time to represent the people of the state of California, and one of the reasons I became a DA because I really do feel that it's the place where you get to be an attorney, but your role really is to seek the truth. And I have taken my oath to do that very seriously over the years. In the last few years, I have really had the privilege of working in a different sort of role within the DA's office, and that is one of crime prevention. Before I started that, I had worked in the juvenile justice system. And what I found there was that people were really struggling, especially the parents who were in the system. And they would say to me and to the courts, you know, we know our children are going down the wrong path, but we don't know what to do. And for the last few years, I went out and I've been working in the community. And one of the things I deal with is truancy, or students not going to school. And similarly in that setting, I heard from parents, I drive my child to school and they walk out the back door and I don't know what to do. And so I kept hearing these cries for help and decided that we needed a program for them. And I started a program called Parent Project. The program itself has been around for 25 years. It's a nationally acclaimed program, but it did not exist in our county. Because I had been working in the community, I was able to collaborate with law enforcement agencies throughout the county, and in fact, Palo Alto was one of the first places that started the class, and I worked very closely with the Palo Alto Police Department. We rolled out the class with one pilot and ended up now, in just about a year and a half, we now have 15 classes throughout the county offered in English and in Spanish, and we are working on a Vietnamese translation. It's very important to me that we find ways to prevent crime for youth, and I also work on other areas, including the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force, and doing a lot of presentations on underage drinking and driving. Before becoming a DA, I worked in civil practice at a large law firm dealing with very complex civil litigation matters, including intellectual property, financial institutions, consumer class action, and so on. I only have a quick time, so I will tell you I have a very strong educational background and honored to say that I have had the endorsements of all endorsing law enforcement agencies, numerous elected officials, the Santa Clara County Bar Association, and community leaders are supporting me. I was born and raised in Santa Clara County, and I would be honored to continue to serve the community which I grew up. Thank you.